Today's vlog is going to be analyzing the water consumption that I use on one of my urban plots. And I want to feature this one specifically because at this particular plot that we're going to look at, I only grow crops here, so I'm not doing washing of veg and stuff like that. And that's what would happen at my home base here, and so those numbers will be different. I think if we can look at just what the consumption that's used for a plot of growing production, that information will be more transferable to others that want to use this information and it'll benefit. So I've been just kind of going over my water bills and kind of looking at how much we use and all that. So this video is just going to analyze that information, and then you guys can transpose it to your own situation. But first, I just want to say that I have gone through all of the intern applications for the 2017 Green City Acres internship. There's 3 positions, 6 weeks each. I got a total of 78 applications, and holy crap, was it a lot of work to go through all those. Fortunately, I had some questions that I could kind of just sort, and it made it a little easy to eliminate some right away. Things like some people, I had a question on there where I asked, can you actually afford to come here, pay your way, and all that. There was maybe 10 or so people that said no. So obviously, you guys, like, this isn't a free ride. You know, it's education in exchange for your time. So not a free ride. So anyways, those were eliminated pretty quickly. But I have to say that it was very difficult to go through all these because there's some really heartfelt responses written in there and inspiring to see what people are doing. So it wasn't easy at all. So I've whittled it down to about 20 or so right now, and then I've got to whittle it down to 15. Then we will have Skype meetings for that last 15 for the 3 positions. So that will all be finished by March 1st, and I'll be sending out emails around then. Also, something that's ending on March 1st is the early bird tickets for my June 5-day workshop here in Kelowna on my farm. It's half sold out now. I'm only taking 18 people, so there's about 9 other spots left. So early bird tickets, and for that, it's quite a number, $100, a few $100 that comes off the ticket, so you save quite a bit there. So March 1st is the end date for that early bird tickets, then it just goes into normal tickets. So that aside, let's get into this content. So what we've got here is a map of this plot. It's just a drone shot that I did, and I've looked at my bills and I've totaled up all the consumption of water I've used. So you'll notice here that I'm using imperial and metric systems. That's just what Canadians do, and I'm sorry that we're confused about that. I have some conversions in here, but it won't be hard for you guys to figure out how much a cubic meter is in cubic yards, or however much you measure it, and how many feet is how many meters. These are easy things to do that Google can do for you. So I'm not going to hold your hand on this one. I'm just going to go through and review this information. So this plot in particular we're looking at, the whole plot is about 5,000 square feet, but obviously not every single square inch of it is in production. Only these specific parts are. So this first plot has they're 53-foot beds, and it's 53 feet by 40 feet. So this part, I've done a video on this irrigation section in specific before. You can click up here to check that out. But this one particular plot is done with overhead irrigation. In that video, I outline how that irrigation works. So it's overhead irrigation. It's a 4-zone system. There's a total of 9 impact heads that just run on the edges of the plot, and there's 1 in the center. So that's probably the majority of where the water consumption is there. And then the greenhouses, they're 2 432 square foot greenhouses. They're 12 feet by 36 feet long. And those are growing greens on the shoulder seasons, and then they're interplanted, and then they grow tomatoes in the summer. If you follow my content, you've seen how we've done that before. And so that's where all the water's getting used. On the back end, near the fence, there is a area that's kind of just random garden stuff. That's for myself and Roger and Alen, that are my neighbors who help me manage this plot. So that's just sort of the private garden there. The water consumption there will be completely negligible to the rest of it. though it is factored in the total cost. But I think these numbers that we're looking at can be transposed just by looking at the square footage of the primary plots, because the stuff on the back here is all drip, and it's only really running for a few months of the year, opposed to everything else here is running for 7.5 months of the year. That's our primary season, basically starting from the 1st of April until sometimes into November, but if it was November, we'd just be watering the greenhouses. But that's the basics of the season. So I paid a total water bill for this site of $532 for 2016. And that was a total consumption of 1,997 cubic meters. So 1,097.34 cubic meters for that 7.5 month period. And the rate I pay is 48.5 cents per cubic meter. So that's my base rate. And so the reason I'm showing these to you is because these water prices fluctuate everywhere. But if you take my bases, you can figure out how much water you might use at a particular plot. And keep in mind, there's probably other ways to be more efficient with irrigation. We try the best we can, but there's all kinds of things you can do to reduce your water consumption. So our main plot here is 2,120 square feet, 53 by 40, and then the 2 greenhouses. So that's a total of 2,984 square feet, which converts to 277 square meters of total productive area, using 1,097 cubic meters of water for 7.5 months. So the highest consumption time there is going to be July and August. So that's basically how it breaks down. I had a number of requests to talk about this information, and so I think what you can do with this information is take my total square footage, so my 2,984 square footage equals 1,097 cubic meters of water consumption for 7.5 months. You can convert that into a ratio and then apply that to your situation. So then you could say, okay, well, you could 10x that. Well, I've got this much. This is how much water I would expect to use. The price of the water is going to be different for everybody, right? But I put it in there just so you understand my context. But it's going to be different everywhere, obviously. And if you're in Southern California, your water's going to be a lot higher. If you're in maybe an area like Washington State in the United States, it's going to be a lot less. So, it all depends on where you are. Each municipality has a different type of water. So anyways, I hope you guys have found that helpful. Just again, remember March 1st is the cutoff for early bird tickets for our June workshop, and it's also the time that I'll be sending out emails to follow up for interviews for the internship. All right, guys, talk to you later.